to use implicit differentiation to find duality for inverse, sine, inverse, tangent, etc. Okay. So, but first, let's review inverse trig function. Okay, we know sine function when we consider the whole domain on sine, it will be all real number. But if I let the domain to be all real number, then it's not going to be 1-to-1. So, in order to have inverse sine, I need to make the domain smaller. So I need to restrict the domain for sine to be a smaller domain. So then the function will be 1-to-1. And it also take on every value in the range from -1 to 1. So instead of all real numbers, I push it. So make the domain smaller. And we usually like to have 0 in the domain. So when I restrict the domain, I make the domain to be from -2 to power 2. Okay, this way. So if I restrict the domain from -2 to power 2, then this function, sine of x over here, will be 1-to-1. So it's going to be a 1-to-1 function. And now do you guys remember 1-to-1? Okay, so for each x in the domain, there's only one y corresponding to it. Okay. And for each y in the range, there's only one x correspond to it. So it's 1-to-1. So when I restrict the domain of sine from -2 to power 2, then this function is going to be 1-to-1. And it takes on every value in the range. It takes on from -1 to 1. Sine of x with the domain from -2 to power 2 will be 1-to-1. So it has inverse. This -1 on this upper right corner of sine here indicate it is an inverse function. Now remember, inverse function and the function itself, it just switch the x and y. So for example, over here, sine of power 2 is equal to 1. Then inverse sine of 1 will be power 2. So the function sine and inverse sine, the domain and range, they are going to be switched. So what will be the domain for inverse sine? Anyone can tell me?
-1-to-1.
Yes, very good. -1-to-1. Because the domain for inverse sine is the range for sine. So range for sine is from -1 to 1. So the domain for inverse sine will be -1 to 1. Okay, good job. So it's -1 to 1. What about the range for inverse sine?
Is it -π/2 to π/2?
Yes, you got it. Okay. So the range for inverse sine is the domain for this sine of x. Remember, we had to restrict the domain to be -2 to power 2 in order to make this function to be 1-to-1, right? So it's going to be -2 to power 2. Okay. So you see sine and inverse sine, the domain and range, they switch. Okay. Okay. Now, what about cosine? Cosine over here, when the domain, consider the domain to be all real number, it's not going to be 1-to-1. So we restrict the domain, so make it smaller. Okay. Also want to have a 0 in the domain. So I restrict the domain of cosine x from 0 to pi. So only consider cosine x when x going from 0 to pi. When we do it that way, then cosine of x is going to be 1-to-1 and also takes on every value in its range from -1 to 1. Then we have the inverse cosine. What's the domain for inverse cosine? Anyone?
1 to -1.
Half right. Okay, you have to say from small to big. Okay, -1 to 1. Yes, got it. Okay, so it is going to be -1 to. It's going to be -1 to 1. Okay, the domain for inverse cosine is the range for cosine, and cosine go from -1 to 1. So that's the domain for inverse cosine. So what about range for inverse cosine?
0 to pi.
0 to pi?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So the range for inverse cosine is the domain for cosine over here, the restricted domain, which is 0 to pi. Yes, you got it. Now let's get to tangent. Tangent, if we restrict the domain from -2 to power 2, then this function will be 1-to-1. So now what's the domain for inverse tangent?
For real numbers?
Yes, the domain for this is the range for this. The range for this is all real number. You got it. Okay, so all real number. Okay, that's stand for all real number. Now, what about the range for inverse tangent?
Negative pi over 2 to pi over 2.
Yes, negative power 2 to power 2. All right, so this is a brief review for those inverse trig function, these three inverse trig function. Today, we're going to discover the duality for inverse sine and also inverse tangent. So first, we look at the function y equal to inverse sine of x. We're trying to find the duality of this function. The way that we do it is we try to relate this to the function that we already know, which is the sine function. So if y is inverse sine of x, so that tells us sine of y is equal to what? Sine of y is equal to x. Yes. Okay. So y is inverse sine of x, then sine of y will be equal to x. So because inverse sine and sine, they are inverse function, they reverse it, they undo the operation and then undo each other. Okay, so y is inverse sine of x, then x is sine of y. Now we're trying to use implicit differentiation to find y prime. Remember implicit differentiation, there are two steps. The first step is differentiate both sides with respect to x. Second step is to solve for y prime. Now let's differentiate both sides with respect to x. Differentiate this side with respect to x. Notice that this is a composition of two functions. This is the outer function, that's the inner function. So to differentiate that, we have to use what kind of rule that we have to use?
Chain.
Chain rule?
Yes, the chain rule. Okay, so according to the chain rule, we're going to differentiate the outer function first. Right? So what's the duality of sine?
Cosine?
Cosine. So we have cosine, and then we copy this inner function y over here. So leaving the inside alone. So the duality of this outer with respect to y is cosine of y. By the chain rule, we multiply the duality of this inner function. And what should I put over here?
Y prime?
Y prime, you got it. So times y prime. Okay, so that's the duality of the left side with respect to x. So what about the right side? Differentiate x with respect to x. What do you get?
1.
Got it. Good job. Okay, now we're going to solve for y prime. So y prime will be 1 divided by cosine of y. So you have 1 over cosine of y. So 1 over cosine of y is secant of y. Secant and cosine are reciprocal. So we put it as secant of y. Now we want to go back to x. This is in terms of y. We want to express this y in terms of x. Now to do that, we have this trick over here. The trick here is use this y triangle over here. So we have over here x is sine of y, then this y here is the angle in radian. So we put it over here. So we draw a y triangle and we put this angle y over here. Sine of y is equal to x, which is the same as x over 1. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So on this y triangle, I'm going to label the opposite side of this angle to be x. The hypotenuse here to be 1. So this is x, this is 1. By the Pythagorean theorem, what will be this side over here? This side over here will be square root of what?
1 minus x squared.
1 minus x squared. Yeah. The hypotenuse square minus the square of this side. Yes, you got it. So let me see if I can. Oh, okay. I already have it there. 1 minus x squared. Okay. Once you have this y triangle here ready, you can express this back to x. So secant of y, secant is the reciprocal of cosine. Okay, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So secant will be hypotenuse over adjacent. So this will be 1 over square root of 1 minus x squared. So that will be 1 over. So we put it back over here. So we just discover for this function inverse sine of x, the duality is 1 over square root of 1 minus x squared. So we can use it as a formula. Question? Do you understand now? Okay. Now the next one, we're going to discover the duality for inverse tangent. Similarly, okay, we want to express this. We want to relate this to the tangent function because we know the duality for tangent. So if y is equal to inverse tangent of x, then tangent of y is equal to what? X. Okay, we got it. Now we can use implicit differentiation to find y prime. So the two steps. First, we're going to differentiate both sides with respect to x. Let's differentiate this side with respect to x. Differentiate this outer function tangent. What's the derivative for tangent of x?
Secant
What's the derivative?
squared.
Secant square. Yes, you got it. Okay. The derivative tangent is secant square. So this one will be secant square of y. Okay. So leaving the inside alone. So you put the y there. Times what? Times the derivative. By the chain rule, you have to times this by the derivative of this inner function, which is, what should I put over here?
Y prime.
Y prime. On the right side, differentiate this x with respect to x. What do we get over here?
1.
1. You got it. Now, the next step here, we want to solve for y prime. Solve for y prime. That's equal to 1 over secant square y. We can express this. What we know secant is the reciprocal of cosine, right? So this is cosine square of y. Now, we want to return back to x. Then we use the same trick again. The trick is use the y triangle. So we have tangent of y equal to x. So we draw the right triangle here and label this angle here y. So that's the angle y in radian. And that's equal to x over 1. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So I label the opposite side here x, adjacent side here 1. By the Pythagorean theorem, what will be this side over here? Square root of 1 plus x squared, right? Okay. Now, once you get this three sides of this right triangle, you're ready to express this cosine square y back to x. So this will be the square of 1 over square root of 1 plus x squared, which is going to be 1 over 1 plus x squared. Cosine y is adjacent over hypotenuse, so it's 1 over square root of 1 plus x squared. And you put this back over here, so you get cosine square y equal to this, which is equal to 1 over 1 plus x squared. We have done all this work. Now we can use it as a formula. So for inverse tangent of x, the derivative is 1 over 1 plus x squared. Now we have discovered the two formulas. One is for inverse sine, one is for inverse tangent. These two are the main ones. The inverse cosine and inverse cotangent, we don't use it that often. So these two are the major ones.